Hey everyone, and welcome. If you're on an IVF journey, you already know it can feel like you're just drowning in information. So today, we're going to shine a light on one specific factor that can be playing a role behind the scenes, a hidden factor, but one that is totally, completely manageable. So if you've been feeling like there's maybe a missing piece to your fertility puzzle, you are in exactly the right place. We're about to explore a connection that, doesn't always get the spotlight, but it's one you can absolutely take charge of. All right, let's get right into it. The factor we're talking about is insulin resistance. Now, I know, that might sound a little medical, a little technical, but I promise we're going to break it down so it makes total sense. Because really, understanding this is the very first step to empowering your entire journey. Okay, so think of insulin like a key. Its job is to unlock your body's cells to let in glucose, sugar, for energy. But with insulin resistance, the locks on your cells they get kind of rusty. They don't open up so easily. And because of that, sugar starts to build up in your blood. And your body has to go into overdrive, pumping out more and more insulin just to try and get the job done. Now, what's so wild about this is how normal these signs can seem. I mean, that energy crash you get after lunch, or those super intense cravings for something sweet, so many of us just brush that stuff off, right? But they can actually be tiny little red flags from your body, telling you that things might be a little off balance. So, we know what it is, but how on earth does this connect to fertility and IVF? Well, let's connect the dots and see how this can set off a whole chain reaction inside your body. Okay, so this right here is the absolute key. Fertility is all about this beautifully orchestrated hormonal dance, right? Everything has to be in perfect sync. But when high levels of insulin come and cross the party, it can throw that entire rhythm completely off. And here's exactly how that happens. That extra insulin can actually signal the ovaries to start making more androgens, which are typically male hormones like testosterone. This messes with the critical balance between FSH, which helps your eggs grow, and LH, the hormone that's supposed to trigger ovulation. The result? Well, your cycles can get irregular, or sometimes ovulation might not even happen at all. And it's not just about whether you ovulate. This whole hormonal chaos affects the very environment where your eggs are supposed to be growing and maturing. It can make it so much harder for those eggs to develop properly and reach their full healthy potential. And the story doesn't even end there. For an embryo to implant successfully, it needs a welcoming, nourishing home, a nice, receptive uterine lining. Insulin resistance can get in the way of that, making that lining less of a cozy spot for a hopeful embryo to settle into. So when you put it all together, you can see how this one single issue can create a bunch of different hurdles during an IVF cycle. We're talking everything from egg quality and how you respond to medication, to problems with implantation, and even a higher risk of early pregnancy loss. You can see how it all stacks up, right? Okay, I know that might sound like a lot, but here is the best part, the truly hopeful part. This is something you can actively do something about. So let's shift gears and talk about the action plan. This is where we get to talk about taking back control. All right, so where do you even start? First off, you got to get the facts. And that begins with a simple, straightforward conversation with your doctor. Mention any of those symptoms we talked about and ask specifically about these blood tests. They'll give you a really clear picture of what's going on. Nutrition can be an absolute game changer here. The whole goal is to keep your blood sugar nice and stable. No big spikes, no big crashes. So think about filling your plate with foods that give you that slow, steady release of energy, while maybe cutting back on the things that give you that super fast sugar rush. And it's so much more than just food. Moving your body regularly helps your muscles literally soak up sugar from your bloodstream. And seriously, don't sleep on, sleep. And managing stress, too. High stress means high cortisol, which is another hormone that messes with your blood sugar. See? It's all connected. Now, beyond all the lifestyle stuff, your doctor might also discuss the medical support options. Things like metformin or supplements like inositol are often used to help the body become more sensitive to insulin again. Think of it as another tool in the toolbox. Now, this is so important. We have to remember that fertility is a team sport. This is not just a conversation for women. Insulin resistance can absolutely impact male fertility too. For guys, it can mess with their hormones and lead to lower testosterone. It can also cause damage to sperm DNA, which affects everything from their quality to how well they can swim. So getting your partner on board with these lifestyle changes, that can make a massive difference for you as a team. So after all of that information, what is the big takeaway here? It's really all about finding and creating a hopeful path forward. And honestly, this quote just nails it. You can't fix a problem if you don't even know it's there, right? By understanding what's going on with your metabolic health, you are no longer in the dark. You are in the driver's seat. And this isn't about finding something that's wrong with you. Not at all. It's about finding an opportunity. It's a real, tangible area where the actions you take can have a direct, positive, and meaningful impact on your health and your fertility. So the real question is, what's your next step? Maybe it's just making that doctor's appointment, or trying a new healthy recipe this week, or just deciding to go for a walk today. Every single small step is a step in a hopeful direction. And hey, just before we wrap up, a super important reminder, everything we've talked about today is just for informational purposes. It is absolutely not a substitute for professional medical advice. So please, always talk to your doctor about your own personal health. If you're looking for more information on the whole IVF process, you can find it at ivfforme.com. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and I am wishing you the absolute best on your journey.